So today I'm here with Nils. Nils, if you'd like to introduce yourself to the people watching.
Hi guys, so my name is Nils. I have a shoe cleaning business for people that have big sneaker collections, and I've been doing this for the past 4 years.
Good to have you here. We're gonna make a video today essentially talking about his experience working with us. How much revenue did we actually add to your shoe cleaning business?
Generated probably over 50K from then to now. So that's how much you can help for my business.
That's awesome, man. Talk to me about that a little bit. So obviously, I can't remember exactly how we met each other or how we found each other out. Obviously, it was through the community at the time, the new standard. But how was it like, let's just talk about that for a second. Like if you had to describe your headspace or how the business was back then before we started working together, just, scaling ads and stuff like that. How were you feeling back then before you had, let's say, like structure or somebody actually helping you to scale the business?
Definitely. So 6 months before I joined the community, I was actually not even making like barely $1,000.
Oh, wow.
And the reason why was I was at school and I was a boxer. So I didn't really focus on my business. And after I started really trying to learn things on my own, and I will apply these things, but I did not have any clarity on anything that I was doing, because I knew a lot of theory, like lots of these other guys that I know, but I didn't apply any and had no clarity on what to do exactly. So then when I joined you, at first I had good knowledge, but I didn't know how to apply it, and I had no one to really give me advice and another perspective on what I was doing. Mm-hmm. So at first I kind of I felt like I was already going in the right direction. But when I joined, I realized that actually I was doing a lot of things wrong, and it just felt good to have all of this knowledge and theories about marketing.
Yeah.
But I wasn't applying none of them. So when I joined, I was just a bit, let's say, not lost, but I didn't have enough clarity on what I was doing.
Yeah, and clarity is a huge thing, and we're going to talk about that. I think that's one of the things we could have helped you with the most, was really, as you said, making it very clear what you need to do. I think a lot of people have a lot of knowledge, they have these great ideas, but unless you start executing and taking action, it doesn't mean anything. So when you said that you had like a lot of knowledge, or you had a lot of ideas, or just, was it from like YouTube videos? Had you been working with anyone prior? Like what did that mean for you exactly?
So before, I would read a lot of books. So that was my main thing. I would read probably 2 books a month.
Okay.
I was watching a lot of Alex Hormozy, all of these people that you can find on the internet, and I was going to a couple events, but I never actually had anyone to help me on my business. So I was just getting free information and like little books. So before that, I just had, let's say, like just general knowledge.
Okay.
That was good, but I didn't have someone to actually give me a consultation on what I was doing.
For sure. And I think I remember, because basically at the beginning, a lot of these guys that I ended up working with, you came through with the community, and we had our 30-day challenge, we did our calls. But when we started working in the inner circle, which was basically my private group of guys that I was consulting once a week, I think, in my humble opinion, I think that's where it actually took a step forward, and it really made more results. So how was it like starting together? So obviously we got to know each other through the community, and then obviously we started working together in the inner circle. What was your journey like when you started? So you came in, you were making 2K per month, you would come here once a week. What were the main problems in your business at that time, and what were the things that we focused on to actually help you gain that clarity and scale from 2 to 5K per month?
Yeah. So I think the biggest issue at first was identity. So
identity.
I think that I thought I was smart enough to go in the right direction, but there was missing parts of my habits.
Okay.
And all the people I knew from Entourage also didn't have businesses.
Okay.
So just the fact to be around entrepreneurs every single day in the morning, set goals, and then achieving them and reviewing them, kind of changed my identity, and also it gave me momentum. So
that was for the calls.
Just from the calls and the meetups and the inner circle, because every single time we'll see each other, we'll set each other goals, and then we'll learn new things, and then we kind of have this momentum of small wins that stagger up together. Compared to before, maybe it was just like closing a deal and then kind of goes down and then closing a deal again. But here we're not only focusing on the business, but on the person to actually get to the objective of the business, and to that person that can actually control the business and get the results. So I think that was the biggest thing first.
That's so important, because one of the biggest parts about scaling your business online, I feel, is not even related to the business at first.
Yeah.
And especially for people trying to get to their first 10K per month, I feel like it's really about the mindset and how you see yourself, your limiting beliefs, and especially environment, being around the right people is super important for you to get there.
Definitely.
So obviously the identity was a big part for you.
And the second thing was marketing. So
what do
you taught me how to run ads.
Okay, so at that time, so you were doing 2K per month with your business. Can you just break down what exactly was the business model and kind of how you're running it, and then love to get into.
So I used to only do like regular sneaker cleaning, so it's just like a
so let's say I had to come clean my shoe, I would come to you.
Exactly. So I would just clean people's sneakers, any types of sneakers, and I would just post some content. And then later on, I also talking about limiting beliefs, I used to believe that ads will not work for my business, because
really?
I thought that.
Why is that the case?
Well, I don't remember completely, but I just remember having kind of like a doubt in ads.
The money maybe you had to invest.
I was afraid to spend money to make more money. And then even though I knew that a lot of these guys, I was reading the books and all that, were talking about ads. And then when I joined and you taught me how to run them, and I just put like $100, I remember running my ads. And I was also already good at like copywriting, all that.
Yeah.
I remember I put $100 and I made $1,000 in a week.
So you 10x.
10x. So then it kind of gave me a click. But then you started asking me questions about the ads. So like, what are your KPIs? What is your cost per DM?
The tracking,
your AOV, and then like, what is he talking about? And then you taught me to track my data, which I think is the biggest thing that helped me so far, is understanding your business. So for example, you know that when you spend this amount of money, you get this amount of money back. And if there's certain issues in certain areas of the business, you can look at all your data and reverse engineer to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, like that's such a big part, because I think that a lot of people out there could be either people who are not running ads, who are in your position, that were like, oh, you know, I've heard about it, but I don't know if it's going to work. A lot of people are there in their business.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like organic content can definitely work, but ads,
it's an accelerator.
As an accelerator. And if you're spending money without knowing exactly like, okay, like what's your cost per follow, cost per DM, cost per lead, depending on the funnel that you're running, what's your book show rate, stuff like that, you know, conversation to DM to book. We were always talking about those things, conversation to close, close to show, etc. You can't really reverse engineer how to actually scale to the rev that you want to get to.
Exactly.
So I think that's a huge part. And now, go ahead.
Coming back to identity, I feel like there's a lot of people, they start making like 3K, maybe 5K, and they start running ads, and they see money coming in, and now they're like, oh yeah, I run ads, and it's like this pedestal word, all that, but they don't track their data. And that's also a part of, I think.
They're flying blind a little bit.
Exactly, so they think they're doing the right thing by just running the ads and the money's coming in, but they have no idea of actually what's going on like with all of the data. And I think having you help me and look at that every single week was also challenging how I thought, and getting out of that identity of, oh yeah, it's already working, money's already coming in, but
like the ego a little bit.
Exactly, you have to, I feel like some entrepreneurs, they start running ads and they think it's just like, oh, money's coming in, I already made it. But it's actually never that. You have to run the ads, you have to have clarity on your data, and you have to have someone to look at it and tell you like, hey, this is not working, this is working, we should double down on that. And that's how I was able to go from maybe $100 a month to 1.5K a month in ads, because you were teaching me that yes, money was coming in, but you have to look at your data, understand how it affects your business and how we're gonna scale it on later on. Because
100%.
Some people will just plateau because they have this kind of like ego of, oh yeah, running ads, money's already coming in.
What are we gonna do with the egos, man? What are we going to do with the egos? So that's such an important and such a clear way of explaining that. Now, if I remember correctly, what was your funnel? So you would run top of, because obviously your service was you'd help people clean shoes. Now, what was the exact price figure or stuff like that? Do you remember that? Like what was the offer that, because that's also another thing that we built together was the offer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before, as I said, it was more like just sneaker cleaning for everyone.
Yeah.
Now I
Not
have my
niche.
own niche.
Yeah.
But before we actually had this offer was an attraction offer.
Yeah.
So what we will do is, if you're a client and you brought in 3 pairs of sneakers, you'll get 1 for free.
Yeah.
And what that help is actually converting these strangers.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
And then they will actually bring more shoes in. So that was the offer. First of all, we had a really good offer. And then so I'll do content, and then I'll do some story funnels, and then I will do maybe some DM ads and follower ads. And then people will follow me, DM me, like my post, and then they will either fill in a lead form or send me a DM. I'll then DM set them or call them, and then I'll book them in. And then they will bring shoes, they'll be satisfied with the service, and then they'll maybe refer a friend and bring in more afterwards. So that was kind of like the funnel was just basically ads, organic content, and referrals.
Yeah, and referrals are super powerful, but the ads and organic content was
ads
huge.
was probably the strongest thing, yeah.
Now, I remember obviously you would have these DM ads. What was your cost per DM at the time?
Yeah.
What was,
so on
I remember
average,
we optimized that. Yeah.
I used to have like a $8 cost per DM, and then we switch up a bit the ads, and it was around $3 per DM. So
for qualified leads, it's actually very low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when we switched up the offer, made it more clear. I was getting a lot more qualified leads, and also the ads especially. We were analyzing them, so instead of just shooting random ads, I will look at my ads and trying to find out what was working, what was not working, and how to attract these people. And then we already have all the stats funneled down, so I knew exactly how many ads I had to do, how much budget I had to put in, and what I had to optimize to get a lower cost and then a higher AOV. So that was
100%. And the higher AOV is very important too, because it maximizes the rev per person or LTV,
exactly.
right? That's huge. So that was like the first big problem was marketing, right?
Yeah.
So basically we helped you design that funnel. We were optimizing the KPIs.
Yeah.
And talk to me more about clarity, because obviously, you know, we helped a little bit with the ads, just the creativity side. I remember you had a lot of creativity in the way that you wanted to do ads. You always had these like original ways of doing them and just funneling them down. What was the clarity for you in terms of the KPIs? Because I remember there was a software you were using, and we were talking about like every time we meet up, it was like, okay, what was your data? I remember, what was your data? What's your conversation to book? I need all the data pieces, let's analyze. And then I remember we worked on, okay, if it's, you know, not a lot of people are answering, maybe we need to change the offer, or maybe we need to change the first text, even follow-ups, I remember. So it was clarity on what exactly to work on. Do you feel the fact that because we had clarity on each step of the funnel, we knew exactly where to optimize, or like where did the clarity for you really fit?
I think it was in both ways, because from everything you taught me on KPIs, it's really helped me like even scale to now. So I think first of all was just in general what you taught me to do every single week. So the habits of understanding your data and actually doing it, and with that I was then later on to really optimize it every single day on myself, but the most clarity you gave me was really on understanding the data and how to calculate it, and then how we would reverse engineer it every single week so that we can get closer to my goals.
Yes, let's talk about that. So what was the reverse engineer that we did? I think it was like, okay, we looked at maybe it was a $3 cost per DM. Then we broke it down, and I forget exactly what it was. Do you maybe remember the numbers?
So what we'll do essentially is we have the ads. Let's say impressions is 50,000.
We didn't start with, okay, let's spend $100 and see. We started with, what's the goal? That was the clarity, right? So
we had our revenue objective, and then I have my AOV, so which is like the average order value.
Basically, for those of you who don't know, it's actually the average somebody will spend. Like if somebody goes to buy from Nils, on average they will spend X amount of dollars. That's AOV.
Exactly. So we'll have essentially like top of the funnel, how many people are coming in, how many people were seeing my videos, what was my AOV, what was my cost per DM, what was my cost per qualified DM, and then what was my closing rate. So let's say I had 50 DMs at $3 each. That's $150 for 50 people that contact me. And then maybe I have 25 qualified people, so it was $6.
So 50% qualified, cost per qualified DM was.
And then we will understand, okay, so if there's 25 people that are qualified buyers, and my AOV, let's say, is $120, and I close 30% of these 25 DMs, then we'll have
around 8 people, yeah.
Exactly. So I had exactly the amount of people I had to close. And then with that data, what we'll do is we'll first look at maybe all of like the Instagram DMs to see how we can maybe get higher AOV and a higher closing rate. And then we'll also try to understand like, okay, if this person has this type of profile, how should we text him? Because at the time, I wasn't really dealing with affluent people that had money, but I didn't know how to interact with these people. So I was used to selling to people that had less money, so it was more of like the sales part was different. So it was a lot of like explaining features, giving discounts, and then sometimes I will give like the wrong discounts to the rich people, and I kind of turned it off. So I was asking Nick like, hey, like why am I losing deals here when I'm supposed to get them?
We looked at so many DMs together.
Exactly. So you really taught me how to differentiate what types of DMs I was getting and types of avatars and how to talk to them. And then with that, we will optimize. So for example, with cost per DM, cost per qualified DMs, AOV, closing rate, we'll then use all of that data and then run the new ads. And then we'll know exactly, okay, so from the last campaign, if we spend this amount of money, we should make this amount of money. So if we want to make, let's say, another 3K this week or 1K, then we have to spend this exact amount of money to get to where we want to be.
It was specific. And also with that, you can forecast sales and plan, which also allows you to be able to allocate budget for finances on the back end, which nobody really talks about. That's another huge part.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So, well, just based off of that, it sounded like that helped you a lot. And I'm really happy it did. And I'm sure that's still helping you now. Besides that, that was the marketing. What other problems were you experiencing after that? Because I do remember we did get into a little bit of selling. I know we just talked about that. What other parts for you were you experiencing at that time besides the marketing and the identity?
Yeah. So I feel like also sales, not only Nick taught me how to sell to people, but actually how to, I feel like from the community, I learned how to talk to people more in more detached way, which actually helps me a lot now with my clients, because what I was talking about, the identity, is that when you talk to maybe, let's say, successful people, there's a certain way to talk to them and to listen to them. And being around more successful people actually taught me more how to do that. So I think that's, in the social aspect, helped me a lot. And it's something I still use every single day on my clients, since my clients now make more money. So I have to understand like the psychological way of interacting with them. I think that was one thing that I actually learned quite a lot with you.
Especially the NEPQ, because of course I had learned from Jeremy Miner himself, which I was lucky enough to do. So that knowledge being transferred down is a very powerful way, because a lot of it is psychological, like you said.
Understanding the tonalities, asking the right questions. I feel like the sales worked in multiple ways, as I said, in relationships with people I know and affluent people, and also in networking. So when you get good at sales and you know what questions to ask, it's easier to get to know someone and make them trust you. So I was able afterwards to network with a lot of people that I know now, and also just mainly the sales part. So understanding how to talk to a client with a detachment of outcomes. So for example, when you start your business and you really want to hit a goal, some people are very desperate, and people can sense it. And I remember you will go through some of my DMs because I really wanted to hit the goal of the week. And then you will show me how I maybe reacted too emotionally and not professionally. And when I started implementing, how do you say this, a frame, when I started implementing the frames you taught me and how to talk to these people.
And reframes.
Exactly, and the reframes, especially like the identity frames, was something you taught me. It helped me to close more clients. And even now, the main thing is the detachment of the outcome with my clients. I think that's the biggest thing you taught me, and it's something I still use to this day. So basically in sales, just everything. So the framing,
objection handling,
and also especially how you start the conversations with your leads. Because a lot of people
being disarming.
Exactly, because some people they all sound the same, and then they get the same objections for a reason. But when you learn how to actually talk to your clients at first, you don't really get any objections at all afterwards. So that was also a very useful thing, and keeping it simple. I think that's like, it's easy to say, but I feel like it's one of the most powerful things, is that I used to overcomplicate things a lot, and you always told me to take raw action and to really keep it simple.
Raw action solves all.
Exactly. So I think
keep it stupid simple, KISS, as they say. Keep it stupid simple. Yeah.
So I think in terms of sales, and helped me in multiple criterias of my life.
Yeah.
And it gave me, like, all of this that you taught me, it gave me the fundamentals to scale to where I'm at right now. And if I didn't do that before, I probably wouldn't be where I am today, because I would have had the wrong habits, and I would have not learned how to have my own clarity and really how to sell correctly, even though I continue to learn sales. But I feel like if you have the right fundamentals, it's way easier afterward to learn it in a more clear way. So that's probably, in terms of sales, the biggest thing you taught me.
It's amazing, man. So I'm really, really happy, because it really sounds like we helped you. Because as much as I think as a mentor that I did help you, I'm happy to hear that I was able to help you as well. Of course, the results show.
Yeah.
So overall, like, I'm really happy on the progress, and I'm sure there's so much more that you're gonna go out there and do. I really think you have a lot of potential to do great things. What would you recommend for somebody who's, let's say, on the fence of starting, or they've already started their business, but they're maybe looking to take a step forward into, working with us, let's say? What would you say to them? Because obviously you've had an experience working with me as a mentor.
Definitely. So I feel like if you want to start off in business, or you really want to scale, there's lots of beliefs that you have to break off, and limiting beliefs. And the reason why also I joined you is at first we were just a community, and through the community you actually learn to know you more. And what I realized in the community is that there's a lot of people that join these communities, and there's actually only some that will put in the effort to succeed. And that is because these people are willing to learn. And when you start off, it's kind of like a dreamy place, and a lot of people kind of get stuck in that place. I was stuck in that place for a long time because I didn't want to get uncomfortable. Yeah. And I was afraid to spend money on ads. I was only going to small events, reading books. But if you really want to evolve, I feel like you have to, like, now, whenever I have a problem with something, I pay someone to do it. And that's something I used to not do. Because before I would just say, okay, yeah, I have YouTube, all that stuff. Yes, you can go learn it on YouTube, but you don't have someone that has the reps in. And as you told me before, like, if you don't know how to ride a bicycle, you just find someone that does. He doesn't have to do anything complicated. And same thing with teaching other people. So I feel like if you really want to accelerate your growth and learn, you have to get surrounded by people that are a step ahead of you. Nick, he was, let's say, maybe 10 steps ahead, and he would teach me how to get to this 10 steps. So I feel like when you have someone that can really help you start off and build this, like, identity and clarity on how to get to point A, from point A to point B, then you can really accelerate your growth. And with learning all these fundamentals, then you can really get to the next level. So if you're starting off, don't be afraid to spend money on learning something new and anything you want to do, because I think it's the best way to do it, finding someone that's already good at it. And you have to change a lot of things in what you're doing currently because it's not working. So in terms of identity, the people you're surrounded with, and the clarity you have on everything. So even if you're making 10K a month and you want to get to 100K a month, you need a lot of clarity. And even people at 100K a month are paying people that are making $1 million a month to teach them how to get to $1 million. So you always need someone to help you get clarity on the next steps. And I feel like getting to your first 10K is a lot of hard work and just understanding the knowledge. And then after, maybe from 10K to, let's say, 100K, it's all about systems and other complicated things. So I feel like each step has micro steps you have to take and you have to learn. And if you don't learn them the correct way, you're just gonna plateau. So if you're starting off, invest into someone that's gonna teach you how to get there. Be ready to learn. and track all of your data. It's super important. And don't be afraid to be in an uncomfortable situation. Because even when I was not making a lot of money, I was investing into events, books, and mentorship. So I feel like if I didn't spend that money, then I wouldn't have gotten to where I am today. So that's what I'll probably recommend.
Amazing, man. Well, I'm really happy you're doing well, and thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
Cool.